look at all the comedians that were on Living Color: David Evan Grier, Tommy Davidson, Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey. I mean, who was probably the most inspirational to you? Who inspired you the most?
That's a great fucking question. Honestly, it is Keenan. It's Keenan Ivory Wayans. And the reason why it is, he put all that shit together.
He did.
And they all come from this cool group too, because it's Eddie Murphy, Keenan, Robert Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
That's that clique.
Yeah.
Those guys changed, to me, not only Black Hollywood, but Hollywood in general, and comedy. They all are forces that will be reckoned with.
Right.
And it started with Eddie. That's why if you look at the raw credits, you see it. You saw who directed it, Robert Townsend. You saw who wrote the opening sketch, Keenan Ivory Wayans. He brought in his homeboys with that. These, like, three of the greatest whatevers of all time created all this different shit. And Keenan found a way to merge hip-hop, and hip-hop was still new at the time. The Living Color was putting hip-hop stars that never got a television credit at first. The Fly Girls embraced the culture of it. I mean, the Super Bowl halftime show only exists because of The Living Color. People forget that it was halftime of the Super Bowl and Living Color did a special. Everybody turned to A Living Color. Ratings through the roof. Guess who the NFL booked the next year? Michael goddamn Jackson. Come on, fam. So Keenan is always, to me, is going to be like, you know, that's one of the only people that's ever told me that I was going to be okay. Right. That I took that fucking shit serious.
How did you land the role in the Carmichael Show?
Being friends with Gerard. You know, I tell, here we go, this is very interesting. I tell comics this all the time. You don't know who gonna be what. So be careful how you treat motherfuckers. I met Gerard when he was new. He walked up to me like, hey man, I'm a big fan. I'm like, hi, you're a scruffy looking kid. But, you know, we had a conversation, then we became friends. And honestly, I remember texting him congratulations about his deal. I heard about when he got his deal with NBC. And he was like, man, that's crazy you hit me. I was thinking about having you come in and read. So this is the funny thing. The Carmichael Show was set up a different way than it was, and you guys ended up seeing. It was supposed to be about him and his friends. That was the show. I auditioned for it. Great audition. NBC loves me. The producers love me. Everybody loves me. And my manager's like, I'm like, what's the problem? You say everybody like me? He's like, yeah, but Gerard. Wait, Gerard, he asked me to do this fucking audition, so he the one that's not picking me? And I called and said, Gerard, why you not? He said, oh, because you did it differently than I envisioned the character. So yeah, but everybody else loved it. He's like, no, but that's not how I wrote it. You know, that's not how I envisioned it. And I was like, man, this motherfucker. But then I had to respect it too. Right. I said, man, it's your show, it's your
right, you do what
you do. But then he rewrote the shit to make it a family structure based off his family. And he wrote Bobby exactly the way I performed it. And that's how I got the show. All I had to do was come in for a screen test. And I did exactly what he asked me to do, and I booked the show. I remember I was supposed to be long gone. You know how people start deliberating about you? Right. So I was waiting on my car. I'm sitting there eating lunch, and I could watch them deliberating about me. And they're like, yo, you still on the studio lot? I said, yeah, I got to wait on my ride. I've been here for like an hour. Right. But yeah, that's how I got it. It's being friends with Gerard. Gerard is, I mean, even just the way Tiffany wasn't supposed to be on the show. Right. He wrote this shit in. Which sometimes I hate when I get Gerard personal information, because I was going through a divorce at the time. And the next thing you know, I had an ex-wife on the show, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
You giving a man ideas.
I was calling him an event one day, and next thing you know, I had an ex-wife on the show.
You mentioned Tiffany Haddish as being one of your best friends. Yeah. She's kind of had a couple of mishaps over the last couple of months. You talk to her. What's going on? How does Rel get Tiffany back on the straight and narrow?
Well, it's not Rel doing that. It's Tiffany's doing that. She's putting the work in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so proud of her. And it was what I was saying earlier to you about, like, you know, just taking some time for yourself. You know, I think, she lost her grandmother. Right. She lost like one of her oldest dogs she loved. Like, I know her forever. And so she just has so many loss. And I think she didn't take enough time to like deal with certain things.
Right.
And her machine is like this. She works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the stuff she was going through more or less is fatigue. You gotta rest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I give back to Katt's advice. Don't let these niggas burn you out.
Right.
And that's real. You do have to pace yourself. And she's fine. Like she's holding herself accountable for things. And I, you saw I had a cognac because I'm not drinking also. Me and her had a very heart-to-heart about both of us taking those steps.
Right.
In general, it's just like what are we doing? Like learning to not participate in things just because it's available to you and taking time for yourself.
Right.
So I'm proud of her. And, Tiffany's one of the best people in the world. I feel bad for her a lot of times because people love to attack her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fucking weird to me. Like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, one of the most hardworking people you'll ever meet. But, I always tell her, that's why you can't care about pleasing people.
Mm-hmm.
You care about what everybody fucking thinks, man. That's draining.
Right.
And we already in the business where you're going to already have critics and all this other shit. Don't take in all of that shit.
Right.
You don't owe anybody anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't owe nobody shit. If somebody did something for me and it wasn't out the goodness of your heart, then that's fucked up on you. I don't owe you shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm proud of her. She's doing so well. And only adults can work on themselves. Nobody can do, you know what I mean?
Do you think they do another girls trip too?
I think so. It'll be interesting too now because they can do so many different storylines with all of them now.
Right.
But they it might be even funnier to be quite honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Issa Rae, Insecure. That's part of you've been in. So let me ask you this, Rick. How do you just they send you scripts and then or do you say, nah, this ain't for me? How do you go about, okay, this is something I might be interested in. I think I might be interested in it. Or do you just read everything?
Well, that's interesting you say that. Now, Insecure is a very cool story. But in general, for me, I get scripts sent to me all the time.
Right.
I do so many movies, everybody think I be saying yes to everything, but I really don't. I turn down a lot of stuff, actually. But then I get a lot of really good stuff. Everything I've ever done is stuff I really wanted to do.
Right.
Now, sometimes I'm just a fan of something. So I'm a big fan of Insecure. You know what I'm saying? Huge fan of the shit. Mm-hmm. Huge fan of all of them. And I remember telling Issa, man, you gotta find something for me, you know what I mean? And I remember telling Yvonne Orgy, who, paid her best friend on the show, and one of my closest friends, I wanted to be on the show. She gave me a call one random day. Said, Rel, I don't really like the cats I'm reading with. I think you should come in for this, play this lawyer, maybe love interest.
Right. Okay.
I was like, all right. And this is how beautiful our group is. And me and Issa just had lunch, so we were just talking about this. Because it was this weird back-to-back years where all of us was nobodies and all of us had this shit going on, and it was crazy. And I remember Yvonne telling me this shit. They sent me, and I think I might have texted Issa, so I don't forget whatever happened. And they sent me the role. I dressed up. I was doing Carmichael's show at the time.
Okay.
And I had to get permission to do it because I was, on NBC. And I said, okay, Gerard, hey, can I do Insecure? And I remember the network really didn't want me to do it. All the producers he's like, bro, I don't give a fuck. Issa's our friend, go do it. I'm like, cool. So I went to go read for it. I dressed up as the lawyer. I ain't never really dressed up I really wanted this fucking part. And I dressed up as the lawyer and I remember it was a guy there who was testing with me and he saw me all dressed up. And this one Get Out was already out. So I was like, man, what the fuck? Hey man, you already on the show?
Come on.
Why you want to be on this shit? You could tell nigga was God damn, this nigga Rel here. They gonna give it to him.
Yeah, I ain't finna get this part.
I showed up dressed as a lawyer. I got the lawyer outfit from the Carmichael show costumers.
Right.
I said, could y'all give me a lawyer outfit real quick to go do this audition? Matter of fact, that was the last audition I had. Was Insecure. And so I did that and I booked it and man, I'm so glad I got a chance to be a part of it. That was my first sex scene. Was me and Yvonne's Insecure scene, which is the craziest. You learn a lot about that.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because we like to do something before two something.